Where we work from is important, and as a freelancer in the creative space, a great workspace is paramount, and it's got to meet several essential needs. First, it's got to be a space where creativity can happen. Large enough for all of your gear, quiet enough to do deep work, and light enough to foster inspiration. Well, that's not all strictly true in my situation. The place that does all of this for me is Tightspot Studios. And if your space is the size of a Great British postage stamp, and you're looking for ideas and inspiration, grab a cup of something good and let me show you around the place. Having a great workspace that motivates, inspires productivity and creativity is crucial, in part to the success of any business, no matter the size of that space. I officially became a freelancer back in April 2024, and now working for myself and my great workspace is great and isn't great all at the same time. My workspace is a 6 foot by 6 foot or approximately 3.3 square meter box I playfully call Tightspot Studios. I do pretty much 90% of my work in this room. It's my office, content creation space, ideation station, and voiceover booth. I set the space up back in March 2020, and it's gone through a few changes since then. More since February 2024, when I rebooted my company, pivoted, and became a freelancer and business owner. Because my workspace is properly bijou, the challenge has been trying to be super clever with storage for all the gear I need to do what I do. Believe it or not, because this space is so small, I've had to think long and hard about the gear that I buy. If it's too big, I can't buy it, as I need to consider storage of said gear. Funny, having a space this small means that I don't suffer too much from gear acquisition syndrome, as I don't have the luxury of heaps of storage space. Genuinely, this is the smallest room in the house, aside from the space under the stairs. Mrs. Norf and I have 4 big small people, and they managed to snag the bigger rooms in the house. Note to self, be much quicker off the mark, old man. Here's proof, even my garden shed has more floor space than my office. It can be a bit of a challenge trying to keep Tightspot Studios in some sort of order. However, it's fun and I make it work. My space is minimal yet super functional and has 1 or 2 things that keep me inspired each day to keep improving. I set about changing this space back in March 2020. It was cluttered, dark, and needed a total overhaul if this was going to become my new workspace. I spent an age looking at how I could make it work, given the size that it is. Before we picked up a paintbrush, I needed to get some of the fundamentals in place. I needed to ensure that I had one specific thing in place first and foremost, and that thing was light. This was my first focus. I wanted lots of natural light in here, so decided that the screen had to be on this solid wall, and really it was the only place it could go. But that sorted, next was decorating. My eldest daughter painted it all for me, and I am forever grateful to her. And 5 years on, I still love it in here. The walls are finished in a Dulux paint called Goose Down, which is a bluey grey colour. The lights and switches are chrome stroke silver, which match with some of the accessories that I have in this space. I was given a Herman Miller Mira office chair that was going to be disposed of as it was missing a bolt. I managed to get hold of said bolt and fitted it, and thus it became fit for purpose again. My chair is now as good as new. Although the chair has been in Tightspot Studios for some 8 years, it's super comfy for me. However, it has now been superseded by the Mira 2 chair. Now, these chairs are not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, and neither should your comfort be either. My desk is bespoke and was built during the era where the world couldn't travel. I don't want to mention that name. It was an investment, and now it really is paying dividends, more now that I'm working for myself. It's made from a 3-meter piece of solid oak kitchen work surface, which is 28mm thick. I would have loved to have had a sit-stand desk, but in order to really maximize space in Tightspot Studios, I designed the desk specifically to fit snugly in this room. The shelves have been kept and reused and upcycled. They were in this room when we bought the house many years ago, so I've decided to keep them. I did change the support brackets to iron ones to save on space so I can get all 3 shelves on the outer wall. The main storage in Tightspot Studios is huge thanks to the 3 IKEA Alex units that we bought. Most of the gear that I use on a regular basis is all kept in here. Things like my cables, extra batteries, friction arms, secondary devices, and of course my cameras and lenses. My favourite piece of storage are my pegboards, full of things that I need regular access to. Yes, and I include my lightsabers in that. On the wall behind my monitor is where I store my other 2 keyboards. My daily is the full-size Logitech MX keys. It truly is one of the best keyboards I've used. I do have the Logitech MX Keys Mini for when I travel, and when I'm working on a script or doing some real deep work, I'll switch to my Keytron K8 mechanical keyboard. I've not customized it at all, I'm using it straight out of the box, and it's great for that vintage feel and vibe as it reminds me of years gone by. I'm physically a proud Gen Xer, so remember when these were a new thing from back in my school days. And candidly, this one sounds amazing. Just take a listen. My tools of the trade are a 16-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro, a CalDigit TS4 interface, and a Dell 40-inch curved widescreen display. I was using a 34-inch HP curved widescreen display, and the extra screen real estate comes in super handy as it maximizes the space in Tightspot Studios. For the conference calls that I'm on, I have chosen to use the Opal C1 4K webcam. I did pick this up previously enjoyed from the Bay and do love it. I nearly did switch it out for another webcam as it gets a pretty bad rap for what it is. I was having some initial issues with it, but soon discovered it does have a specific idiosyncrasy. When using it with additional external USB devices plugged into the TS4 dock, it can get a little bit upset and sometimes doesn't want to start up or just stops mid-call. However, as long as I unplug all other USB devices connected to the TS4, the webcam seems to be happy and relatively stable. I am really good to work with the Opal C1 webcam as the benefits are it's a super small footprint and works super well in Tightspot Studios. I have added little touches of refinement in Tightspot Studios with the BenQ monitor screen lamp and the LEDs that create a delicate backlight when I'm working late into the night. Now, because my space is super small, I am restricted from an audio perspective to using my super vintage creative iTrig 2.1 speakers. You may notice a bit of a Star Wars and Iron Man theme going on. I am a fan, but I would ask that you don't hold that against me. My workspace has taken just over 5 years to get it to the point where it's at today. I have made some investments and subtle refinements when I've been able to afford it, and as a result, it's one of my favourite places to work in the world. A few of my friends that have crossed the threshold into Tightspot Studios are both impressed by how big this space looks on camera, but are also super shocked by how small this workspace actually is. I don't think I've exhausted the creative possibilities in here. I really do enjoy it. It takes me less than 60 seconds to get ready to shoot content because of the Frankenstein lighting and camera arms that I've got set up on a computer monitor arm. And because of this Frankenstein rig, it means I can get to shooting content super quickly. In the space beneath my desk, I get to store my Gomatic McKinnon 35-litre camera bag, my Gomatic travel pack that I use for my daily backpack, and my DJI RS4 gimbal. The more time I spend in Tightspot Studios, the more I'm learning it's not about the gear. Now, don't get me wrong, that does help to a certain extent. It's more about the story that you're trying to tell, and who will derive value from it. I'd love a bigger room to create content in, but that said, for me, this is far more than a workspace. It's a space that aggressively prevents me from being creatively complacent and drives me to think different, to bring out big ideas beyond the obvious. Tightspot Studios continues to teach me to be resourceful and to focus on what truly matters and to appreciate the small wins. If you're struggling with your own setup, I'd say it's not about having the biggest or the fanciest office. I'm sure those things are really nice. For me, I'd say it's about creating a space that works for you on all counts and all levels, however small that space might be. Here are my top tips for making the most of your small workspace. First and foremost, keep it tidy as much as you can and organized. Clutter really is the enemy of creativity. Use vertical storage to free up desk space, invest in good lighting and a comfortable chair. Personalize your space with things that make you happy and things that make you smile. And most importantly, take breaks. Step outside, get some fresh air, go for a walk, and come back into your small space fully recharged. I'm curious though, what's been your biggest small space challenge? What are your non-negotiable desk accessories? And do you have a name for your workspace? Do leave me a comment below and share your own setup. What inspired you, or what have you been struggling with your small workspace? If you found this helpful, please do hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. Also, do share this with anyone who needs a little bit of extra inspiration with their small workspace. However, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.